What if it's not about a building? What if it's not about stained glass or steeples? What if it's about just Jesus?
The Marys of Jesus Part 2. I feel like this is probably some of the most in-depth, confusing episode. Part 1 was great.
Crazy.
Part 2, I feel like gets a little bit more in the weeds.
And for most of these women, and most, I'm not going to say most, but a lot of the world only knows really 2, maybe 3, and the rest of it's like up in the air. And the rest of it, we're like in high grass, pushing it, like saying, "Whoa, what's going on? This is uncharted." But hey, let's go with it.
I'm ready to get these distinguished. So I'm going to talk about the first 3. I brought my notebook.
Do us a recap. Let's go.
I know. Listen.
Yeah, let's go.
I know. Oh no. I can put that back in. No problem. That's what I got.
Hey, just rip the page out. You was done with that episode. It's part 2
you're
now.
You're like
Listen,
Jesus with a whip, turning the tables over.
Hey, don't be mad. Just run through it.
I know. I've got my knowledge down.
It is frustrating, just so you know.
Okay. First one is Mother of Jesus, which is Mama Mary. So we know that one. She is pretty self-explanatory. She was a virgin. You know, she's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Next is Mary of Magdalene. She was from Magdala. That's how she got her name. Follower and friend of Jesus. She was at the cross when he died and was the first to see Jesus after the resurrection. And another big point, she was delivered from 7 demons from Jesus. This is pretty awesome. Third Mary is Mary of Bethany, sister of Martha and Lazarus. She washed his feet. She was from Bethany, and we think we've connected her potentially with the sinful woman that broke the alabaster.
With the expensive perfume.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So where is Mary number 4?
Wow, just keep going. You're doing great listing those off.
Yeah, you got any more on your paper?
No, this is where the page goes blank, and we're moving on to Mary number 4, so I'm counting on you 2.
Sure you just didn't rip it out?
All right, let's go. Mary number 4 is Mary, wife of Clopas. And I'm going to go ahead and start reading. She's in one verse, John 19:25. Standing near the cross were Jesus' mother and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene.
So, yeah, which this could be very confusing. It says Mary, the mother of Jesus, her sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas. So there's a lot of things up in the air. This could be
clear as mud.
Yeah, well, it's said that it could be that she is the sister-in-law of Mary, the mother of Jesus.
Okay.
And that Joseph, the stepfather of Jesus, was the brother of Clopas.
Okay.
Could be.
Right.
But maybe not.
Yeah, no, but I feel like that's a lot of the stuff that we're finding in the Bible, period.
Because it's also said that Jesus has siblings and that Mary, the wife of Clopas, could be the mother of James the Lesser and Joseph. But it's also said that Mary, the mother of Jesus, is the mother of those, and that Jesus has brothers.
Okay, so you said it's also said. Are you talking about the Bible, or is that speculation, or is it just kind of piecing pieces together?
Well, there's a lot of verses that kind of are harder to interpret.
Okay.
And so some things, like a lot of times it might say, like one verse might say the disciples. So here it mentions the disciples and the brothers of the Lord. So, but many times you say brothers, that could also mean cousins.
Okay.
So this could be Mary, the mother of Jesus, and her sister, which could be a sister-in-law, Mary, wife of Clopas, which Clopas could be the brother of Joseph. And so they could be calling Joseph and James the Lesser either Jesus' cousins or Jesus' brothers.
Okay. I think that's great information. Are you good with if we just keep those Marys separate for the simplicity of this episode?
Absolutely.
I would really appreciate that mentally. I think that's awesome. But what I am going to take from this is obviously she had to be somebody important to either Jesus or Mama Mary because she was there with Mama Mary.
Yeah, this is at the death of Jesus where she's mentioned. So she had something vested there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's great. And I think just giving the idea that this is another Mary
Mm-hmm.
is great. You can't mix her up with Bethany
Mm-mm.
or with Magdalene. So, and obviously not the mother of Jesus, but
So let's dive right into the Mary that you can mix her up with.
let's go.
And this is Mary number 5.
This is Mary number 5. This is Mary, mother of James the Less and Joseph. And I can dive right into a verse on this too. Mark 15:40. Some women were there watching from a distance, including Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James the Younger, and of Joseph. I don't know why they call him James the Younger instead of James the Less. And Salome.
But it's written in a different part of the Bible, right?
So,
I think it's just a revision I'm reading.
but so read it again, please.
Yeah, so Mark 15:40. Some women were there watching from a distance, including Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James the Less, and of Joseph, and Salome.
See, so there's a big confusion that Mary, mother the James of the Less,
Mhm.
or James the Younger, could be the mother of Jesus. But most all the time that the Bible is mentioning the mother of Jesus, it says Mary, the mother of Jesus.
As I think it would. I mean, that just makes sense to me.
She kind of has a title there, and that needs to stick with her.
You
But
would
I
think,
feel-
but it could be that is Mary, the mother of Jesus, and that is talking about Jesus' brothers, which there are verses, Paul talks about in literally one verse. He mentions seeing the disciples, which that would cover the 12 apostles, and he says, I saw the disciples and the Lord's brother, which would say that Jesus has brothers. Now, the most important thing we need to get out of this is that brothers could be the same as cousins. Like in that time, how they were looked at and addressed. I'm not saying that they're brothers and cousins. I'm saying that sometimes they're so close as cousins that they could be recognized as brothers.
I think one of the most important things that just kind of clicked for me throughout this whole process is that I can see how some of these could be confused or could be the same people because the verses that you're reading were written by 2 different authors, correct?
Yeah, so we just read one that was in Mark.
Uh-huh.
Now we're switching to Matthew.
So
In the same scenario, it says in Matthew 27:56.
Yes.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But I want you to hear the difference. So this says, among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of James and John, the sons of Zebedee. So that would be Salome, right?
Mhm.
Right. Absolutely. And so that could be the Mary that's the wife of Clopas right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see
And
that.
if we were looking at her to be the sister-in-law, that could be good. But could it be the mother of Jesus right there? Absolutely. And could it be talking about the brothers of Jesus? Absolutely. Because there are verses, even like the Bible talking about when they said, oh, this is just the carpenter's son.
Mm.
And Mary, their mother, and his brothers, it says, And it says James, but it also says Simon Peter and Judas, which are apostles. Now, it could be in times like this that if you were that close and traveling together, that you might be called his brothers.
I could
That
see if
doesn't
us
happen
three were
very often.
traveling, someone would say, "Oh yeah, that's his brothers and sisters."
Yeah,
vice
and
versa.
we are the body of Christ, and it is very normal to say we are all brothers and sisters. But we absolutely know that Judas and Simon Peter are not physically the brothers of Jesus. But now, if it's talking about James the Lesser, could James the Lesser and Joseph be brothers or cousins? That is literally up for debate.
Perfect. So in Mark 16:1, this is the last verse that Mary, mother of James the Less, and Joseph is mentioned. It said Saturday evening, this is at the resurrection. Saturday evening, when the Sabbath ended, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome went out and purchased burial spices so they could anoint Jesus' body.
So she was standing near the cross when he died and present at the resurrection.
Wait a minute. Say that again, because how'd you word that again when you said resurrection?
So it's listed, it's the very start of the resurrection. That's
Okay.
when they went out to do
You
the
said
spices.
the evening before
Um,
the resurrection.
so yeah, that's what it, so in Mark 16, it's
And
under,
I guess that's good because he's dead, right?
yeah, so that's when they went out to buy the spices.
Okay.
So it's under
So they're
the
about
main
to walk
listing
and
of
say, hey,
resurrection.
who's going to remove the stone and all that?
Yeah. So this is the very first verse in that section.
So
Okay.
she was part of the spice business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing that stuff. She was
Remember
not
they were
spicing
going to
up.
do that, and they said, who's going to remove the stone on the way to the tomb? So, yeah, will you read that again?
Yeah. Saturday evening, when the Sabbath ended, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome went out and purchased burial spices so they could anoint Jesus' body.
Yeah, see, so there it is again. Mary, mother of James. So I'm really set on the fact that if that's talking about if it's not talking about Mary, the mother of Jesus, if Mary, the mother of James, is not the mother of Jesus there, then that means Mary, the mother of Jesus, is not there. Right?
She wasn't there to go out and buy the spices.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me because that means Mary, the wife of Clopas, was. And I just think that the mother would be there. So
I don't know, but like imagine if
maybe
you know,
she's just heart killed.
my
She's
kid
breathing.
died.
Broken,
Yeah, my
dead.
kid died. You guys would go like get all the food and take care of all
We're
the
going
stuff.
to take care of this for
Yeah,
you.
but this ain't just like, some distant family members. Even these people like Mary Magdalene, like she followed him everywhere he was.
Yeah.
A part of his ministry. So I would think she would be grieving too, just the same. But yeah, so
So you know what? Let's back up and punt here. Mary, mother of James the Less and Joseph.
yeah.
Who's James the Less?
So the Bible talks about 12 apostles.
Mm-hmm.
We've got James of Zebedee's and John of Zebedee's.
And they mention his mom here, Salome.
Yes. So, yes, like James the Lesser and James, son of Alphaeus, which is an apostle, could be the same. But that's also looked at as either the cousin or the brother of Jesus, which there are some places that call him the brother of Jesus without calling him a disciple.
So the Jameses are just as confusing as the
The
Marys.
Marys?
Absolutely.
And John's. John's are
And
probably
I-
out there too.
And I don't know how many people would even realize that there's another James in the apostles.
I did not.
All right. I'm sorry I asked. Okay.
You just opened up a can of worms and we're trying to get through the Marys.
I opened up a can of Jameses.
Where's Mama Mary?
All All right.
It's just James and it's just Jesus.
Well, I feel like we covered 4 and 5.
All right. So hold on.
Could you imagine if Jesus really does have a brother? Could you imagine how he lived in the shadows? That would be crazy. Oh, that's just James.
The lesser.
All right. So Mary, the mother of James the Less and Joseph. Now, let's talk about the moments for that Mary. She was at the cross
Mm-hmm.
and she went to the tomb.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all we have for her.
She actually went to the tomb. I knew she purchased the burial spices, but
Well,
did she go to the tomb?
Oh, yeah, that's what he read first.
Yeah, no,
right?
she, Mark 16:1. No, she didn't go to the tomb, did she?
No, she just
What
went
did
to
you read
purchase
the first verse you read?
She was at the cross during the crucifixion and the death.
Absolutely.
According to my notes here, she
That's
just
why we got her taking notes, man. This is
right?
great.
She was standing near the cross, and then on that Saturday evening, she purchased burial spices.
You're right. You're right.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
That is why I'm here with my pencil and pen pad.
We only had a few verses and a few situations and a few Marys.
And then you added in the James for a twist.
All right. All right.
We're just letting the chips fall where they may, really.
Okay, so she's covered now.
Okay. So we covered, all right, Mary, wife of Clopas, and Mary, mother of James the Less and Joseph. I feel good with
Yeah.
those. I feel like we did a good job.
I never
Wow.
did that before, for the record.
On
For the record.
on to Mary number 6.
All right. So now this is a good one. I actually do like this one. So, but man, who knows? Mary, mother of John Mark.
Yes. Wow.
Who is John Mark?
So John Mark is actually at one verse. I think we looked it up earlier.
I can read it real quick.
Yeah.
Acts 12:12. When he realized this, he went to the home of Mary, the mother of John Mark, where many were gathered for prayer. You want to put that in context?
Yeah. So obviously, this is Peter, Simon Peter, when he comes from jail where they're going to take his life, but the angel comes in and intervenes and, walks right into the jail, basically picks up, Simon Peter and says, "Hey, let's go." And he shakes off the chains and they just walk out. Well, so they come to the house. He comes to the house of Mary, the mother of John Mark there, which obviously this John Mark is younger than the disciples. And I believe that he was actually there after Jesus was crucified, and he was actually much younger than Peter and the rest of the disciples. But I think he was seeing this and he was around this a lot because this was his mother. And obviously they met at this Mary's house often. So he is also the Mark that wrote Mark, which is not one of the 12 apostles.
Oh, I thought Mark was an apostle.
No. So he's literally younger, but he's been around with the disciples all this time and maybe he's seen Jesus a few times, and he's, like I said, much younger than the rest of the 12 apostles, and comes along afterwards and writes, just like Luke, who is not an apostle, but writes Acts and travels with Paul a lot, and he's...
Talk about quite the impact of your adolescence.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, that helps you in your formative years. I mean, it's a pretty big deal.
It's crazy. So there's literally 2 people of the 4 gospels that write the life of Jesus who are not 12 apostles that walk with Jesus.
And his is called the Book of Mark,
Yes. So Matthew, Mark,
Luke, and Paul.
John. Paul actually wrote 13 books, but the gospels that they call them, the 4 gospels, Matthew, Mark, Matthew was a disciple. He was a 12.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew, Mark, that's John Mark. Luke, which was a physician, which was not one of the 12, and also wrote Acts. And then John, and that's the brother of James, the sons of Zebedee, or the sons of thunder.
All right. So
Which John was more loving, I believe.
Okay, well, that's pretty cut and dry. Is that the only place that Mary, mother of John Mark, is mentioned?
Pretty much.
Just one place, and her home was the central gathering place for the early church.
Unless she was one of the times that they said, "and the other Mary." I don't even know how many times it says that.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is one that I didn't even know. It was the Mary of Rome, which she's mentioned in Paul's writing in Romans 16:6. It says, "Give my greetings to Mary, who has worked so hard for your benefit."
So obviously, she was a worker just like you in the church that Paul established in Rome. And thought so much of that Paul would make mention in one of his letters to the Roman church that he established to say, "Give her my love," basically.
She's doing good
She's
work.
been such a blessing to the church and worked so hard.
Awesome.
So that's the seventh Mary, and then now we have the other Mary. So there's 8 Marys,
Yeah.
maybe 7, depending on who the other Marys are.
And-
Or the other Mary could be any of those listed above.
Yes.
Absolutely.
More than likely, she is, but I'll read through those just so we have them. We can talk about them.
Yeah.
Matthew 27:61. This says, "Both Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were sitting across from the tomb and watching."
Which could be, like you said, any one of the ones that we
Any
mentioned.
of the other ones. Okay.
Yeah, and then we've got early on Sunday morning, as the new day was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went out to visit the tomb.
Wow.
Okay. That
So-
could be a handful of Marys.
Yeah, those are the 2 other Marys, but more than likely, Marys we already talked about.
More than likely.
Oh,
Absolutely. Definitely one of the other Marys we mentioned.
All right, Savannah, just for recap, have you got enough information to recap those?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I do. I learned a lot here. According to my notes, I do. Okay, so Mary number 4, we're going to start there. She is Mary, the wife of Clopas. She was standing near the cross with Mama Mary and Mary Magdalene. That's a pretty big deal. If you were there at that time, that's
Absolutely.
a big one. Number 5, Mary, mother of James the Less and Joseph. She was also standing near the cross, but she did another big thing. So on Saturday evening before the resurrection, she went out to purchase burial spices with Mary Magdalene.
Hmm.
So they were doing big things there.
That could have been the same Mary.
Could have been. That could have been the
Yes.
other Mary, yeah.
But we're not going to speculate
Yeah,
because it could
absolutely.
be. Because it could be. Then we have Mary, mother of John Mark. She's mentioned once, but the reason why she gets a mention is because it's kind of a big deal. She is the mother of John Mark, but John Mark is the Mark of Mark,
the
the book
Gospels.
of Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty big deal there. And then we have Mary of Rome, and I like her. I didn't know who she was going to be, but I like her because she was a worker in the church that Paul established.
Mm.
And she obviously did such a good job and, really made an impact because he wrote and said, hey, tell her I
Absolutely.
said, hey, give her my love. She's fantastic.
Yep.
And then we have the other Mary.
The anonymous.
The other Mary could be any of the Marys listed above. So we're going to say that the other Mary is one and all the Marys.
Come on.
Yeah.
She's very unified,
That really helped
Mary.
me kind of break everything down because those Marys, gosh, that could have been really confusing.
I think it was confusing, but I think we did a good job. They're the best we could do to break those down and make it make the most sense. We spoke to some people at church today and we're like, yeah, how many Marys do you think there is? I'm like 2, 3. I mean, that's
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah.
But
course.
had I not just been completely confused and like, which Mary?
Yeah.
We wouldn't be doing this. And I think this is great, but I don't know that we're going to tackle the Jameses anytime soon.
We're going to need a break. But
I agree.
I think that I have learned the most in these last 2 episodes and taken the most away. I think it's the notepad. I'm going to have to keep it around.
We like you with a notepad. I think that's a good call.
I like
Absolutely.
it. Clarification, I am here.
Yeah. Corey, I think you did a great job on these episodes. I know they were tough, and we can't thank you enough for diving
Yeah,
in
no
and
doubt.
tackling those.
Yeah, and if I love that because we've said this so many times. Women were not mentioned and even counted in those biblical days. But yet these Marys of Jesus, his life, his ministry, his death, his resurrection, they were there. And they were needful. A woman is so important. Without a woman, none of us would be here. And it's so important to know that they had such a touch of nourishment and just able to, the Bible says in one part, they ministered to Jesus. In another way, that means they served. And they were there, just like Paul mentioned, her working so hard for the church that he would make note of that in his letter. Please make sure you give word to Mary, where she's worked so hard. Give her my love. And I just want you to know that the fields are white. The laborers are few. We need women on this battlefield. We need you. We need your touch. We need your help. And God can use you. I don't care who you are and where you've been or what you've done or what your past has looked like. Maybe you have been abused mentally, physically. Maybe you've been through some hard things. But I am here to tell you that Jesus Christ needs you. And we need you in this ministry. We need to walk with you in the trenches. So come on, let's go. Get up in the name of Jesus and run with us. Run for Jesus. Be blessed.